Oh, there you are, friends and family. Always glad to see you again. Well, we're out here at the tire planters. No, we haven't got them planted yet. We've been doing some other things. As well as you know, because yesterday we had errands to run. So we spent a little time over in the downtown area of our little small town here in the deep south of Alabama. And today what we've been doing is getting back to things that need to be done. Or at least some that we could do because we couldn't do others. And I'm out here with my faithful queen, Cleo. And Speedy. Where you going, Speedy? You going after the bumblebee? Go get it, you mighty huntress. Yep, Speedy hunts bumbles, butterflies, and moths. Earlier this morning, she sent a moth to moth heaven. Yep, she's a vicious huntress. And Cleo, she's been with me today. She loves the garden, and she loves to advise her papa. Yep. So, it's done got late in the afternoon. Well, not that late, really about 4. So I wanted to come out here and stick the pH meter in the tire planters. And I'll leave it there a few hours so it can normalize. I've been having to add sulfur, which is what you do. If your pH on your soil is high, you really want to have 6 to 6.5. That's sort of that there sweet spot, neutral, as they call it, pH. Where pretty much everything, if you throw it all in the pot, it'll grow. But I mean, if you really do your research, certain things like a little bit lower pH than a 6, 6.5, some like a little bit higher. So, if that means something to you, then you should look at every different veggie or plant that you're wanting to plant and see if you can't meet its pH needs, just like its own fertilizer needs. There's a general rule of thumb that's sort of kind of good for all things. And then there's specific recommendations if you want to make bumper crops. We're not really into the bumper crop thing. If we do, we do. We don't, we don't. We're not going to be starving. But anyway, that's why we're out here. Plus, I got to start closing things up because we're pretty much had it for the day. So, I'm going to close up the shop for the day. Been running in and out a bit as we need things. So we'll just set the lock in it for now. And we'll close up the side shop. Good enough. And as you can see, we still haven't picked up the limbs from the trees that we jerked down and cut up on Sunday. Yep. And Monday. But we didn't do much Monday. And the reason we didn't, because even though we weren't forecast to have any rain, let alone severe storms, Sunday night we'd have one, sure enough. We're currently over at the old raised bed, which is what you might think is full of weeds, and it is. It's got Virginia creeper in it, all types of other weeds, the remnants of some hairy vetch dying down. That's a good thing, and of course grass, among other things. But one thing I've noticed, and if you look back at past videos, you'll know what this is. This is oregano. Oh yeah. It truly is. If I remember correctly, it is Mexican oregano. Isn't it, Cleo? And it's pretty much taken over the better portion of the half of this bed. That's okay, it pulls up. And when I pull some up, I'll put it back in a new pot. Probably should have just kept it in a pot in the first place. Cleo, are you head bumping your peoples, huh? Your fans? You know, they didn't get to see you much during fall and winter, do they? As they do in the summertime when Papa's out all the time, right? Spooky, I think he's up front, holding down the front porch, probably Mr. Gray. But like I was saying, we had a severe storm. That one severe enough to get me up off my butt off the couch. And it rained like I hadn't seen rain in quite some time. The wind was actually sort of strange. And it was really strong. It was coming from the east and the west at the very same time. Yeah, I would know, because I was peering out through it, through the back door into the carport. And it was strong. And we got about 2 inches in a little over, or a little less than 2 hours. 30 minutes into this storm, because the lightning was just so intense, it was unbelievable. It sounded like we were being bombarded. We saw one big flash, blinding flash of lightning, and then we heard the thunder so loud that it shook the entire house, and boom, the power went off. And it wouldn't come back on until about, hour and a half, 2 hours later. No big deal though. We just sat there and watched the lightning, listened to the thunder, knowing full well all would be well. But when we did wake up Monday morning, that being Sunday night, you could tell we got some strong winds, because things were all blown over. Yep. And there were a lot of limbs in the yard, other than the ones that we had cut down, which is what you're still seeing. The only reason we haven't taken them up to the front is because with the strong winds and storm, a lot of people had portions of smaller trees down. I'd say limbs down from anywhere from twig size up to 3 and 4 inches or more. And some weak trees split and came down. And there were just leaves everywhere, all over the roads and neighborhoods. So that's basically what everybody did Monday that wasn't working. And when those got home that had been working, did yard cleanup, and of course brought it to the street for the city to pick up. And normally they would pick up here on Tuesday, but they didn't make it by. I'm thinking that's because they've been extremely busy working their way towards us. But they'll get here. And when they pick up what's already on the street, we'll start loading it up again with what we have here. Not a lot going on in the sky today, since it's just bright blue and clear as a bell. I wonder who made that saying up, clear as a bell. I think that more goes not for sight but sound, right? Anyway, it sounded good. We got a nice breeze today, as you can see. Temperature was supposed to be 89. Never quite made it. I think we only got up to 83. And I think currently we're at about 79, 81. Darn right pleasant it is. Couldn't ask for much better. Birds are enjoying it. Kitties are enjoying it. I've been enjoying it. Oh, there's Mr. Gray. Laying there. at the edge of the Buford Holly. Mr. Gray, how you doing, old guy? You just couldn't make it on out the rest of the way? Or you just figured you'd hold back? Guard the rear action, huh? Yeah, the old man just couldn't make it all the way out to the shed or lawn chair without catching a nap. Pretty much Mr. Gray naps, eats, you know, and does that other thing. Other than that, that's what Mr. Gray does. Right, Mr. Gray? You Chinese-eyed dude. Been getting hold of some wacky weed? Catnip? Yep, it does grow wild here on the property. It got away from us. And boy, it will. It'll reseed in a heartbeat. And I let it get away from me. Not intentionally. Oh, there's Magoo. And there's Spooky. They're out here chumming it up. Hey Magoo. How you doing? You doing okay? Got your buddy Spooky there with you? Y'all chilling too? Man, afternoon nap time. Whew. What do you think, Cleo? Is it nap time too? No, I think it's snack time for Cleo. So let me show you what we've been up to. We said we were going to do a little bit of gardening. And you've seen some of it, you know, plants that we've been purchasing. You've seen when we found this one, our lunchbox peppers. It was actually 2 in 1 pot, but when I got into trying to separate them, it was looking pretty iffy. And sometimes you're successful at that, sometimes not. It depends on how close the 2 plants are and how intermingled their roots are. And these were rather large pepper plants. Yeah, once I got to trying to jostle them and separate them, they didn't want to come apart so easily. So I just went ahead and said, well, since you love each other so much, I'll let you stay together. It'll be okay. Done it many times before. But there's the lunchbox peppers. And then over here, we got our sweet banana. Right there. Over there, we've got the Bonnie Burpless Bush hybrid cucumbers right there. There's actually 4 of them on that planting. And on the end here, we got 1 of 3. Now, I did separate this one. There were 3 in 1 pot. Thought there was only 2, but there was 3. And these are a yellow squash, yellow crookneck. That's 1 of 3. Not sure where I'll put the other 2. So far in the south side driveway garden bed, we've got a lunchbox pepper, a sweet banana, 4 cucumbers, and a yellow crookneck squash. And if you look back at 2018, at what was planted in this garden bed, pretty much I planted 3 of those Burpless Bush hybrid cucumbers. I think it was 2 yellow squash. I think they were straight neck instead of crook neck. I had cucumbers and squash the entire year. Way more than I could ever eat. In fact, those cucumbers and that squash, along with the okra, tomatoes, and everything else that was jammed into this bed, produced from the time I set it in to the frost killed it. Well, just look at last year and the year before. Once we start to growing, we grow until it dies, which is normally when the frost comes. But it does take effort. So this is our little meager start. We got so much more to do starting tomorrow. Come the heat of the day, we call it the done deal. Now something since these are brand new plantings, when I first stuck them in, those cucumbers were planted on Sunday. The 2 pepper plants were put in early this morning, as was the squash. And you saw how clear the sky was. It was that clear all day long. So coming around 10:30, the sun was just blaring down on them. And like I say, it was probably at that time about 83, maybe 84. And the sun stays directly on this throughout, well, anywhere from 10 till, as what you're seeing now, it's now currently 4:30. And now they're in partial sun, partial shade. But they get pretty much 6 hours of intense sunshine. And they were all drooping and starting to wilt. The cucumbers there, they had a tough time of it. Sunday afternoon throughout Monday. In fact, I actually put a cardboard box over the cucumbers just to give them some shade. But what I did, I went into the shop and I found where I had purchased a little bit of shade cloth. And you can see it up here. I'd bought a section that was 12 feet long by 6 feet wide. Now this is only half of that because I cut it in half. And I put it over these when I got done this morning planting. And I tell you what, the plants didn't start drooping so bad when that blazing hot sun got on them again today. Except I'm going to have to add some more because we're not quite over the squash. And it was drooping, so I put a cardboard box over the top of it. It did fine, and then when the sun got not directly on top of it, but to where, you know, it was shining down through the trees, partial sun and shade, I took it off and you can see, it looks fine. Yep, you really shouldn't be planting in the bright sunshine. But sometimes you just got to do what you got to do. Now, you might wonder what I'm going to do here with the poles. Well, probably do like I did last year. And that's put some beans. Yep. Some of my famous Kentucky Wonder rattlesnake pole bean cross. You know, the ones that cross-pollinate here. We've been trying to keep them going for now, what? This will be the 4th season? Yeah. But they're actually a hybrid by chance. They crossed all on their own. Back when I was growing Kentucky Wonder, rattlesnake, blue Hindi, and one other bean. All here on the place. And the rattlesnake and the Kentucky Wonder crossed and made a whole new variety. And in all honesty, that's how a lot of new hybrid vegetable plants and plants in general are created. By accident from cross-pollination. Of course, new varieties are created every season by universities, seed companies, and what have you, by cross-pollination. But we've just been cleaning things up. And I thought, well, since we were getting everything shut down for the day, and the kids are all tuckered out, I'm just wanting to relax a little bit too. Thought I'd show you what we've been up to. It ain't much. Still got to put up our acidifier that we've been putting out, because like I say, our pH is running a little bit on the higher side than I want. I stuck this here in bed with my meter, my pH meter, and it says it's 7.5, which would definitely be too high. You definitely don't want to be past 7 for veggies. But then I went ahead and got a pH test out, you know, a real one where you put dirt in it and a solution and water and shake it up and let it sit a while, and that said 6.5. For what I'm growing here, peppers, cucumbers, squash and all that, I'd like to be a 6. I'll take the 6.5. But what I did is I put some of this here Bama organic soil acidifier on the soil. And all this is, and I've talked about it before, is it is sulfur. It's got 18% free sulfur and 12% combined sulfur. And sulfur is what you use to get your pH down to a lower number. Yep. So I put that on at the recommended rate, and it takes time to work. Probably ain't gonna see any difference for a good few weeks, and then we'll test it again. Another way to know whether your pH is where it needs to be is just by looking at your plants. Because if your pH is out of whack, it'll lock up nutrients the plants need. Certain nutrients will be unavailable to the plants if the pH is too high or too low. Plants just can't metabolize and extract the nutrients from the soil. So another way to know whether your pH is in balance is look at how your plants are growing. Are they yellowed? Are they stunted? And what have you. That's where good gardening books come in. Of course, old Mr. Google. And just good common experience over time. But that's where we are. It's not earth shattering. We still got a lot to put in tomorrow. We got to find a home for our 6 tomato plants, 6 Bonnie bell peppers. Oh, we got 2 more squash. We're going to plant some beans and some more cucumbers. A different variety. They're actually the burpless beauties. And you can look that up on my channel too. We grew some of them, I think that was 2019. And some of them got to be 12 and 14 inches long. Woo, and we had more than we could deal with. And they were so yummy. Well, let's go sit on the front porch. Magoo, you okay? You got cobwebs on you. You been getting in the spider webs? You been in the shop? Yep, probably have been. Yep, Magoo just chilling. But you can see the blueberries are still just slap full. Woohoo, they're everywhere. And the plants are looking fine. We got a little bit of yellow in there. Gonna have to throw down some iron. Check our pH again too. And once we harvest the berries, make adjustments. I don't want to do too much because they're doing really amazing. Just look at all those berries just in that one section. And they're everywhere. Oh, I'm gonna have way more berries than I need. Oh, we'll have to organize the freezer again. That one didn't make it. You might say, well, it's turning blue. Not for the right reason. A bug got in it. Whoo, they're everywhere. Oh, there's a limb from the oak tree we got to get, and I'll be darned. Another one of them greenbriers done popped up and come right up through that blueberry bush. Well, we'll cut it out here in a bit. Never ending battle with those. Trust me, it is. Oh, once the berries are harvested, we're going to do some tying up and restaking. Mr. Gray, Spooky, you coming up to sit on the front porch? Or are you going to stay down there in the shade? Okay. Cleo, you just going to hang with Papa, aren't you? I see y'all done scarfed down all your chicken I brought you when I came out. Yeah, I deboned the whole chicken. And I brought the skin and, you know, some meat. No bones. You know, cartilage. They love that. It's crunchy. And I served it to them when I first came out. They loved it. Didn't you, Spooky? You love it? Did Cleo eat it all? I doubt it. Cleo was there. Spooky was there. And so was Speedy. Mr. Gray, he may have not got any. He may have been late to the game. But you can see they're looking fine. And they're just relaxing. And that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to sit on the front porch with them. Enjoy the sound of the birds. The touch of the breeze. And just enjoy my afternoon. Taking it easy. Here on my little piece of heaven. Well, as you can see, it's just me, Spooky, and Cleo here on the front porch. Yeah, you can hear the birds in the distance. Mr. Gray, he got tuckered out, just making his way up here. Yep. Yeah, he's hard to see, Mr. Gray, down there, but he's down at the end of the blueberries. He made it to the grass, and then he just too tuckered out, head on up any further. Magoo's out laying under his favorite pecan tree out by the fence. And here I am, enjoying the front porch with the kitty crew. It's been a good day. Not that we did all that much. We got up early. Did a little YouTube work, you know, reading comments, replying, answering questions, sending out some thumbs up and hearts on your comments, because like I've told you, if you see a heart, I read it. And 99.9% of the time or more, I'll give you a thumbs up too for just sharing something with the community. And then, you know, once we had a couple cups of coffee, we came on out. Checked the property. We picked up sticks for a while. You know, the ones that we hadn't left behind. The new ones from the storm from Sunday night. And then we got into planting. Of course, first had to check our pH. And we went ahead and did a nutrient check too. Checked our phosphorus and potash levels. Phosphorus looks fine. Potash is deficient. So here again, we're going to have to make some adjustments in our nutrient regime. But we got potash, so that's no big. Got a little gas there, excuse me. Anywho, we didn't check our nitrogen because that's always been sufficient, because we're constantly adding organic matter that breaks down and adds more than anything nitrogen. But if you're gardening this year, whether it's being just some pots, a little bed, or you've got, you know, big gardens, small ones, medium size, whatever. Or you just got some pots in the house. Do what you can do. Do what makes you happy. Yeah, maybe you're not going to live totally on what you grow. But grow what you want to grow and what makes you happy and what you can deal with. Because putting in a whole bunch of stuff and not being able to handle it, care for it properly, and see it to its best potential is just a waste. And it gets aggravating, it gets frustrating, and increases the anxiety in your life. So why do it? Me, I'm going to grow what I want to grow up to a point. I got a lot of things I want to do this year. Continue to clear the property. Get that done. May was get around the shop in certain areas. But 2022, hopefully, with money and time and having people that can do it, when we come out of 2022, I want the property as far as clearing, amount of trees, and what have you, where I want it at the end of the year. May not happen, but that's our plan. And you'll see as we put in a little more. Got a little more to put in there on the south side garden bed. And we got to go down and plant out the tire planters. And we may plant out that area to the left. Oh, no, it's to the right, where you see those T-posts. Not sure yet. That may be where I put those Burpless Beauty cucumbers. Yeah, maybe. I know I'm going to put some tomato plants in one tire planter and some pepper plants in another. And then I sort of got figured out where I'm going to put the rest. Still got 2 squash plants to stick somewhere. And then you just never know with me. Once I get rolling, sometimes I keep rolling and do way too much for one little old person. Because it don't take all that much to feed me. But I hope this video finds you well, safe, and happy wherever you may be. Enjoying your day, however it may be. So until I, Spooky Cleo, Mr. Gray, Speedy, sometimes Elrod and Magoo and Heathcliff, and of course Gracie and Lilybit, holding down the house and the AC. See you on the next video. Y'all take care. Stay safe. And God bless you as you bless others. Goodbye for now. Well, guys, y'all gonna chill there? Because it ain't gonna be all that long. And it's gonna be food time, huh? I know you'll let me know it. But let's just enjoy. Let's just enjoy the quiet, peaceful serenity of the natural sounds of life here in the deep south of Alabama. Later, all.